Today, I am so excited about the guest that we're having on because she is a mentor, a big sis, and a friend to me, Madi Murphy. She has read both Danny and I's charts in the past, so we're excited to get her on the pod. Madi Murphy is an intuitive astrologer, empowerment mentor, and the founder of CosmicRx, a spiritual wellness brand helping thousands of people align with their cosmic purpose and unapologetically own their magic. As the host of CosmicRx radio podcast, Madi offers weekly doses of spiritual self-care, astrological insights, and unapologetic pep talks, making healing feel approachable, inclusive, and even fun. And as an author, she continues this mission with her upcoming book, In the Cosmic Zone, a practical magical guide to awakening your inner wisdom and rewriting your story from the stars down. Welcome to the podcast, Madi.
Oh, thank you. That just felt like such a beautiful hug, and I'm just so happy to be here. This is really special. I've been admiring your podcast magic for a while from afar, so this feels very momentous to be here.
Thank you. And yes. I mean, you are in part somebody who inspired me to, I was always kind of like in the background, helping other people with their podcasts or in media, radio, and you kind of inspired me to be like, well, no, this is part of your journey too. And just even looking at my chart and looking at my Chiron and looking at my third house, I'm like, wow, this was something that was meant for me. It was just, I was too afraid. So thank you, because you really helped inspire me to do something like this.
Oh, that's what I love to do. That is the shit I live for. That is what gets me out of bed. Even the days when I'm like, I'm so tired. But then I'm like, no, that's the stuff that lights me up. That's awesome.
Good. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into some of the more nitty gritties. But first, we're going to get back to our grounded selves. And we ask all of our guests, what is in your cup today? What are you sipping on? And what is metaphorically in your cup of life?
Yeah, the cup of life and metaphoric. Literally, I'm always sipping on caffeine nowadays. I have two small children, under 18 months old. I'm an earth sign. I feel like caffeine and coffee is basically our lifeblood. But metaphorically, I'm sipping on a little chaos, learning how to embrace it, learning how to just roll with it being messy. And then with a sprinkle of asking for help. Right before we got this podcast, I had to just reach out to a friend, and it's not in my nature, a Virgo, oldest daughter. It's not in my nature, but this morning I was like, I need some help today with something I'm working on, and I could do it my own, but it'll be so frustrating. So the balance of letting things be chaotic, but also being you don't have to do this all alone.
Yeah.
I feel that deeply.
We're both pretty guilty of that. Even asking each other for help sometimes. It's I don't want to do that.
Right.
Right? What is that? Even our partners, people we've signed up to do things with, we're still I don't want to bother you.
Right.
Right. Even saying it feels very foreign coming out of my mouth. I need help.
No, I know. That's why I feel sometimes the universe will give me breakdown, breaking point moments. It's honey, how many times we gotta teach you? And then of course it's just more fun. It's collaborative. It's something it opens the energy up. I'm holding on to it like a pressure cooker, and then I invite in my friend or my sister or my husband, and I'm oh, okay, now we're just in a hot tub. I was in a little tea kettle before steaming, but now we can enjoy this flow together. And every time I'm why do you let it get to this point before you ask for help?
Every single time, I know. It's I'm over here hanging on for dear life. I'm can I just let go of the reins a little bit? Let the universe do its thing. But let's dive into our combo, because we would love for our audience to get to know you a little bit more. So can you tell us more about just your journey to CosmicRx, the podcast, the book, and just how you started this community where you are empowering people to live their authentic selves?
Okay, let's do it. And I'm a yapper, so I'm gonna just try and keep this cosmic cliff notes. But yeah, I think, with that being said, let's just start from day one of being a child. But this is the one quick thing I will say is that probably a lot of people listening, I'm sure the two of you included, I was that little girl. I was that little girl making the potions, in the woods, talking to the moon, believing in magic, and even into the astrology. Or my aunt had the birthday book, and I loved crystals and building little altars and all this stuff you kind of do intuitively. And even well into like high school age, I resonated with that. Somewhere around college, I got it in my head, like, take yourself seriously. No one's going to take yourself seriously if you do that. And you need to go out there and you need to like be successful and get a job. And, I don't know, this conditioning. And then, of course, like many people maybe who might resonate with this, in my late 20s, I just had a complete and utter like tower card moment. I was set to be married and to a man who was lovely and very nice, kind of a friend from college. And my whole body shut down. I like couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Everything like felt so, like I felt so off. And up to that point, I definitely identified as a good girl, like just like oldest sister of 4 girls, good student. I mean, I wasn't good all the time, but my outward facing persona was very like, yes, she checks all the boxes. She just goes with the flow. She like is on the life plan. And about 2 weeks before this huge wedding that we planned, I was just like, I can't do this and I'm gonna make everyone so upset with me, but like I physically feel like I'm gonna die if I go through with this. And I remember just having this kind of big turning point moment, and I was like, you know what, I gotta do this. And luckily I had some good people in my ear, my sisters around me, being like, go, this is when the real you begins, really like step into this. And of course, now knowing astrology, it was a week before my Saturn return. So if astrology isn't real, like when I look back on it years later, I was like, well, hot damn. I wish I had a little heads up that was happening. Maybe I wouldn't have. It would have been a bit more context. But thus began the journey. If anybody here's ever been through a big moment where life is like, it's like crashing out, or you're the one who presses implode, explode life button, you wake up and it's like, shit, on paper, my life kind of sucks right now, because everything was like, I had gotten rid of my apartment, my job. I was going to move across the country with this man. At the same time, my parents are getting divorced. We sold my child at home. I am standing there like one day to the next, a completely different person. All the things that I kind of either hid behind or identified with were just completely obliterated. But I also felt so free and so clear, and like a weight was lifted. So I was like, this is something. Like, what is this? And then thus kind of began my journey back to like, what is my intuition? What does it mean to check in with myself versus like looking at what everyone's doing around me? What does it mean to like, go from party girl life who doesn't have 1 minute to think for herself, or almost a fear of being alone and being by herself, to just spending hours and days and oh my gasp, weekends by myself, right, meditating or pulling tarot cards in Washington Square Park. Because that was the other thing that happened, is I was like, you know what? Pretty much hitting rock bottom here. I have $0. I have nowhere to live. I have no job. All my friends that were friends with me and my fiance, they're all like kind of gone and awkward. So I guess I'll return to astrology and tarot, because why not? What else do I have to lose? And there was a comfort in that. And I also had a really clear feeling of voice within me that was like, Maddie, you just made a pretty bold public statement that like you won't settle for like something that's not in alignment. You're not going to settle for inauthentic life. So now, bitch, you better make that decision. You can't go back to like the shitty job. You can't go back to like another crappy relationship. So I unintentionally gave myself this like huge level up, like a promotion from the universe. But I was like, so that I really started cultivating these tools. Like I was so hungry for them and I needed them. And they're the only things that got me out of bed in the morning, whether it was like a yoga class, again, like knowing I was going to go to a moon circle in, some really kooky new agey spot in like the West Village. And then flash forward, like I just now was like, I really want to help people, like either whether kind of that moment I was in of just going through such a breakdown moment, but realizing it's actually like a breakthrough moment. Or what's crazy is like I've gone through moments like that again. That wasn't as extreme, but when I started to start my first business, I had a similar, can I do this? Am I ready? Who am I to do this? Like, right, this feeling. And I had to go back to my tools, right? Same thing when publishing this book or becoming a mother. There's these moments that like these crossroads we come to time and time again. And these tools, and specifically astrology, has been such a lighthouse for me, such a roadmap, such a validation, and a planetary permission slip that I was like, I want everyone I want everyone to have access to this if they're open to it, if they're like looking for something like this. And this will lead us into, talking about other things, starting the business. But I was like, oh, shoot, astrology. As I was trying to explain to people, especially me in Manhattan, people are looking at me like, what?
Like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, she's completely spiraling out.
Jupiter, what's this broad talking about? Man, this is a Dwayne Reed. Like, what are you going on about? So thus began my Virgo journey of like, how do I make this accessible, digestible, and just something that is approachable, because it's such a powerful tool, but there is such a barrier to entry of it, I think.
Yeah, I think that we definitely relate. I think that I had my kind of like crash out moment, I think like almost after my Saturn return. My Saturn return was really just like discovering like, oh, like there's a reason why I've like always felt not right in this skin, in this life that I was conditioned to feel like I was supposed to live, right? And so my Saturn return was like very magical. It was like coming out of it and like kind of like you had said, making that choice of like, you know what, I'm gonna live a different life. That's when everything started to crumble, because I was like, you make a choice and the universe is like, okay, well, if you want to level up, like you're gonna have to go through all the shit, like get through the muck first to be able to get to a place where you're able to really live in alignment. You have to shed all the yuckies off first.
Shed all the yuckies off, or like, if you think about aligning a bone, like, okay, we had to re-break that bone and reset it, and you're like, do we have to? And the universe is like,
yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart, this work, but it is worth it.
Mine was pretty much in the middle of all of it. I think I became pregnant at 28. I had my baby just before I turned 29. And then after that, with all the postpartum stuff and just trying to figure out my life, I think that it was just kind of right smack dab in the middle. Like, I think I turned 30 and I was like, I can't do it. It's just like, you can't deny what's happening in your body. And like, your body's starting to tell you certain things. And so, I didn't know a thing about like return. I didn't know that that's what happens kind of like around that time frame in your life, until her and I kind of reconnected when we were back in the same state with one another. We lived in the same city, and she was like, oh yeah, that was your Saturn return. I'm like what?
What? Someone to give me a heads up.
Right. Like, why are you just now telling me this?
No, it's always like, things that would have been helpful to know yesterday. I love what you said about the body. That it's so true, though. It's like you can't deny it anymore. And that's how I feel like the Saturn return is, especially, for women or people who really identify with that feminine energy. I feel like it's easy to kind of like push things below the surface, or say yes when you really mean no, or just kind of go along with something that's maybe not your super aligned or authentic self. And then something happens around the Saturn return where it's like it's like you're holding everything below the surface, and then like of a pool, right? Like I imagine like big beach balls below the pool surface, and then all of a sudden it's like bop, and they all like just go everywhere, and you can't, right? You can't live in that like deniability space anymore.
Right. It just feels wrong, like you're denying your conscience and your intuition, and that's like one of the, I wouldn't say scariest place to be, but you're just so unconnected.
Yes.
We want to really get into the things. So we want to say, first of all, congratulations on the release of your new book, In the Cosmic Zone. And we just wanted to say we love how much you break each astrological archetype into what you call the universal keys. It makes it, like what you're saying, so digestible, so easy, especially for someone in my case, and I'm sure a lot of our feelers that are more toward the beginning or intermediate understanding of astrology. So right when you first get into it, the first key is, why not me? And us having done this podcast for a year now, that's kind of the question that we go back and forth with all the time. And so we really wanted to know, how does asking that question to ourselves shift our mindset around taking risks, our purpose, and our self-worth?
Lovely. I I'm just so excited, especially to talk to people who are creatives, who are doing something, taking some kind of risk, because I think they really feel this, like in a really charged way. And whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's healing generational patterns, whether it's deciding to fall in love or looking for love, or, you know, whatever it is that your heart desires, there's something funny that we have inside our, you know, more, let's call it like the monkey mind in us, that I find everyone I've worked with, whether they're, you know, a Saturn return baddie or all the way up to like a Fortune 50, you know, CEO, there is this voice that's like, oh, that's for everyone, but maybe not for me. Like, I'm not really the one to do that. Why me, right? And I think that asking ourselves and just putting that one extra syllable in of like, why not me? Someone's got to make an awesome podcast for empaths, and you know, someone's got to create the art that we're, you know, going to inspire the next generation. Someone's got to fall in love and make babies. Someone's got to, like, other people can do it, so why not me? And I think it's kind of also emblematic of one of my favorite aspects of astrology in terms of, you know, planetary poetry in motion. Each of our charts remind us that we're wholly unique. Like, it's so unique. It's such a beautiful, like, kaleidoscope of energy that is your, like, unique soul's fingerprint. But also, it's made up of the same ingredients. Everyone has the same zodiac signs, the same planets. And so it's also like, we're all made up of the same stuff. So there's nothing that's something, you know, inherently better in someone else than us that makes them more worthy or more deserving or more talented or whatever it is to receive and achieve whatever you want to in this life. So I love that. And I also, you know, the book is essentially my pep talk I got from the planets when I was studying astrology, either through my own guides, through books, through teachers, through readers. And it's the information that I found myself like coaching people on over and over again. And there is something so blessedly beautifully activating when someone tells you, like, when you say to yourself in the mirror, why not me? It's like, all right, let's go, right? And it's just something that is, again, associated with the Aries archetype, the beginning of the zodiac wheel. We all have to get in a moment of hyping ourselves up and remembering, like, we're here for a reason and we have everything that we need within us, but we have to be the one to take that first step. No one's going to do it for us.
Yeah, for sure. I think that kind of when you talk about astrology being really popular right now on social media, in pop culture, I think that people think like, well, I'm just my sign, so I'm just going to read like what's for a Taurus rising or what's for a Sagittarius sun, and then I'm going to ignore everything else. But I think people do forget that like we are this incredible wheel of all of these different planets and all these different alignments, but I kind of see it as like the spotlights are just in different places almost. So I really love this idea of taking all of the archetypes and like anybody can really embody them in their own life. I think that for Aries, it's just always really interesting for me because I think I messaged you a few months back and I'm like, what does it mean? Like, does it show up in your chart when you have like a, not like an issue where you don't like a certain sign, but you see them popping up and it just like gives you like this, like the ick. I'll just call it that. It gives you a little ick, right? And for me, that's Aries. And so I've had to ask myself, like, what kind of like triggers me, or what's my like stand in the mirror moment about Aries? Like, what is it about them that kind of activates something in me? Can you like speak to that a little bit? Like when you have something, a certain sign that you just feel like they keep popping up in your life and you feel like there's a resistance to it.
Oh, 100%. Such a good question, because I also do. I really hate like zodiac sign bashing on the internet because I'm like, first of all, what? Second of all, girly pop. You have that in your chart somewhere, and I'm guessing it's going to read you for filth when I tell you what it is. Of like, why you have this, like right. If you be bashing the Scorpios, the Geminis, the whatever, Virgos, like something tells me you have a whole lot of that going on, and you're just, again, like you said, like really self-aware that this like sometimes rejection we feel can be a projection of something in us that is unhealed, or maybe we don't have permission to be that. So for you, I have your chart pulled up, and so I'm going to speak a little bit specifically, but I'll also zoom out so it can apply to anyone listening. Aries is your 12th house, and your 12th house can be in astrology we're getting a little nitty gritty here, but it can be like the house of our subconscious, the house of, they call it our undoing, because there's something there that can be, if we don't look at it, it could be where we self-sabotage or we limit ourselves, or there's kind of like karmic psychic gunk, like clogging our pipes, right? But it's subconscious, it's unconscious. So you're like, well, how do I work on something that I don't know is an issue? And that's, again, why I love astrology. It starts to bring things out. It gives us language, right? When words heal, words build worlds, they can deconstruct worlds. We can understand, okay, so there's something in me, in my subconscious nature, that has some kind of issue with Aries. So then we can begin to look at, even like in this book, for every archetype, for every key, we talk about what it is, why it's important, when to use it. I also talk about when to shelve it, which is my very gentle way of inviting people into shadow work, of like, every zodiac sign, it's an octave, it's a spectrum. There's the high frequency, the high consciousness, and there's always a low frequency and a lower consciousness. And we have to know within us of like, there's no bad sign, but there can be misuse, or dare I say abuse, of that energy. And It can all come from the same place. Like, I know my Virgo energy can be harmful to me when I'm being really critical of myself and others, but that same critical eye is what helps me improve things or edit things, right? So back to Aries, for you, there could just be something there that you look at that you're like, oh, subconsciously, maybe somewhere along the way, maybe I didn't feel that permission to be myself. And then when I watch Aries show up so boldly, so unapologetically, to take things first, to go for it, you can feel like, oh, like, how dare they do that? But it's because somewhere along the way, you don't have that permission. So by looking at that and having that language, you say, okay, well, the medicine that I have to take here is go read that first key and practice doing some of those things, even if it's especially if it's uncomfortable, I would say, right? And that's why I love the archetype work. It's all in there, but some archetypes are dormant and we don't even know that they're dormant. And then when we start to bring them out, and I call it like dress up for your soul, where you're like, maybe I'm not really feeling this Aries energy, but I'm going to put on an Aries outfit for today and just go act like an Aries and see what happens. And then you're like, oh, shoot, okay. Like, I've been sleeping on this whole 1/12 part of me that's really powerful. And then as we heal that within ourselves, we usually feel less projection on other people. And we also go through a level up of attracting maybe better areas in our lives too. So does that make sense? Does that resonate? I know I went down a few different little paths with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. For me, like, Aries are just so like abrupt and so like in your face, and it's just kind of like off-putting to me. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, can you just like, my Taurus rising is like, can you just calm down? So it's definitely like, it's something within me that like maybe I wasn't allowed to be loud and in charge, and I didn't let myself be in the spotlight. And so seeing people in that, I'm like, oof, that just feels like kind of uncomfortable for me.
Exactly. And I love that you brought up Aries, because I think Aries energy, when I started my podcast, I had given it one go and it was such a fumble, it was such a fail, that I just like had to stop and put it down for a few months. I was like, that was so cringy. And then I kind of came back and I was like, what do I want to share with people? And I came back to this kind of like the cosmic zone principles, and I was like, let's start in Aries season, because I have no Aries in my chart minus my Black Moon Lilith, but it is my 10th house. So I was like, okay, I should start with if I'm going to do something really public, I should start in Aries season. And also Aries season is the energy that I never felt comfortable with. I never felt permission with, but I like love it and I admire it. It's like that cool friend of yours who you're like, I just feel awesome that like I get to be around you. Like, I'm going to copy you. And like my little sister's in Aries my whole life. When I'm feeling a little bit insecure, I'm like, what would my sister Gabby do right now? How would she say this? It's so funny. Like, I feel like this book is a love letter to all the signs, but especially for Aries, because like without Aries, I wouldn't be here, because I had to hype myself up and really like faith it till you make it, and like act like a bad bitch before I really felt like one, to get all this going.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe I'll channel that more, and I just invite anyone listening to really look at, maybe a sign that you just have a harder time getting along with, a harder time even just understanding how they move through life. Maybe, like Maddie said, go through the book, and you can pre-order it. It's coming out, well, when you're listening to this, it will be out. So you can go and buy Maddie's book. But go through some of the exercises and do some self-reflection and think, instead of looking at this person as we're so different, or I just don't get them. Maybe tapping into like, well, what is a part of myself that I'm ignoring? So I love that. We're going to switch gears a little bit into something that we're both really excited to talk about, and it's just so timely for what's happening right now. In the week that we're recording this, you guys, not when you're hearing it, but when we're recording it, there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in Iran. And so I think that it's really important to talk about social change and how we can really embody our rebellious nature, our, like you said, the artist. What do we have to share with the world that's really going to like lead the revolution? So you state that self-liberation is a prerequisite for collective liberation. How do you see authenticity as an act of service?
Oh, George, I just had chills when you were talking, because I'm like, this is it, right? This is the moment. This is not conceptual. This is not theoretical. I think everyone on this planet right now could understand, like, things are changing. We are in some kind of revolutionary time. And because I had the beautiful foresight of astrology, I kind of saw a few years ago that I was like, oh shit, we're going into like a whole new world. We are everything that we've relied on, everything that we've used to define ourselves, every cookie cutter path that we were told and sold that it was safe and you know, this is the way to do it, is all going to disappear. So where does that leave us, right? And in some ways it scared me. In some ways it excited me. And I was like, there's no map. What's the map? And I was like, oh, the map is within ourselves. Because if there's one thing that, you know, the systems, the oppressive systems of power, whether they're, you know, extractive capitalism, whether it's patriarchal, whether it's racist, whether it's, you know, colonial powers that be, they really benefit on people, us just falling in line. Like falling in line, doing as we're told, not feeling the courage to speak up, and also not realizing that we all have more in common with each other than the people who, you know, want to hold power over us. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So I'm like, well, how do we, you know, what does that look like for each and every one of us to really do this in an embodied way? Because my whole thing, again, as a Virgo, is I'm like, what does this mean, real talk, off of the Instagram quotes, off of like the, you know, Substack, like where, oh, like theoretical things are happening. I'm like, no. Okay. So I'm like, if you can learn to heal yourself, you're going to usually, most of the time, want to help other people heal themselves. If you have permission to live in your joy, then why wouldn't you want someone else to live in their joy? If you know, have a deep, beautiful, and sacred relationship with the earth, with your body, with your community, why wouldn't you want other people to, right? It's like healed people heal people, like liberated people liberate people. And one of the reasons that I feel like a lot of us don't feel liberated or don't feel healed or don't feel joyful is that we don't either know our authentic selves, we don't feel like we have permission to be in that, it doesn't feel safe to do that, or we're chasing something from the outside world that we're never going to get, that's going to like fill a hole. So I'm like, let's come back to ourselves first and foremost, right? And then let's learn about like trusting, you know, because our intuition is never going to tell us to like harm someone for no reason. You know, like that's all fear. That's so many other things. And our intuition, you know, right now at the time of recording this, we're in Cancer season, and the Cancer part of all of our charts is an intuitive knowing that we're all family, that we're all here to take care of each other, that we're all here to like, you know, kind of be in this chosen divine cosmic family, and that when one of us is hurting, all of us are hurting. But it's the other things, it's the old programming, it's the like us versus you mentality, it's the toxic individualism that like casts us away from that. So I'm like, well, if it's right there in our birth chart to come back to that, well, like let's all look at the Cancer part of our chart and figure out what's going on there, right? Or our fourth house. So there's that, there's authenticity, there's learning how to feel safe, and on the other side there's learning how to feel free, safety and freedom. My dear friend Colin, who is a beautiful astrologer, he talks a lot about like the role of the astrologer is offering safety and freedom. And it's like safety to be yourself, but then freedom to express, freedom to stand up for yourself, freedom to stand up for others, freedom to make the art that is going to change our society, whether that's actual art, whether you're, a storyteller, you make documentaries, or you make music that changes the way we think, or if your art is in how you parent, or if your art is in how you teach people how to garden for themselves. Like, we all have something to offer in this new collective wisdom, because we're reimagining a world from scratch. And spoiler alert, a lot of the stuff that we've been intaking up to this point was not made from the best intentions. So like, I really believe that everyone has a role in this revolution, and everyone has a unique thread to like weave into this tapestry, but it's just not going to come from the outside world. Like 1, 2, 3 steps, here you go. It's like, we have to go inward and do this personal transformation to hold space for the planetary transformation we're in right now.
Yeah, because you can just see it, you can feel it. I think that astrology is a comfort for me because it helps me understand myself and others in the world around me. And so it has, like you said, eliminated that state of fear. But I'm just like looking around and I'm seeing, the ICE raids, I'm seeing the war, I'm seeing the division and all these things. And while that is very heartbreaking and upsetting and enraging, and I think that if you're listening and you feel those things, like, that's absolutely valid to be feeling heartbroken right now, I also can just see that like the systems are breaking, and we're getting ready for this new world, this new society, and the old just has to slough off first. And it's like sometimes things do get worse before they get better. But what I really am inspired by right now is seeing this rise of like matriarchal energy again, and a lot of conversations from women saying, like, we're just not going to like love you like respectfully. We're not going to put up with being treated this way anymore. I'm not going to be silenced anymore. We can't forget our power anymore. I mean, we're both wearing our Beyonce shirts from Cowboy Carter tour. We wanted to be in our Virgo energy today.
I love the Virgo energy. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. But she's just always been like such an inspiration to me in so many different facets, whether it's she's such a great businesswoman, just the mother that she is, the way that she leads us into these new ways of thinking and reminds us back of like, no, like we came from this and we're not going to let other people try to steal or make us feel small for these things. So all that to say, I want to acknowledge what's happening in the world while also ridding this fear of like, we may not know what's going to happen tomorrow, but to me, it's exciting knowing that we're moving into a different age. And I'm really excited to see all these people who are healers, who are, as Maddie calls them, all the cosmic baddies, and people that are just standing up and saying like, well, I have things to share. I think that this is going to be a very important period in history of us sharing whatever resources that we have. Yes,
sharing. I love that. Sharing resources, right? Sharing your story, is they say, like, the truth dies in silence, in the shadows. So it's like just bringing our authentic selves forward. And, it's very interesting what's happening in Iran. Like, I was in high school for 9/11, and I remember feeling like really uncomfortable with like war and the Islamophobia that was running rampant. But at that age, I didn't really have the tools. I didn't have social media. I didn't understand myself enough to put myself out there. I would say it maybe privately, but I didn't really know. I was very unclear, right? And I felt very unsafe. Now, obviously I'm much older, but knowing myself, knowing my chart, knowing the chart of what's happening collectively, and knowing that, like, honey, no, like, if something is wrong, you effing stand up and say something, because it's the only way for you to live in alignment. And like, spirituality and astrology can be used for things like manifesting, but if you're not living in alignment, what's the damn point? Like, what is the point of manifesting a great car or a beach vacation if you're like walking around with your truth all like shoved into your heart and just like, feeling this feeling of, just not living in your full expression. And I think there is such comfort. And I just want to validate what you said. Like, I don't know the future with astrology, but you can see the cycles and the patterns, like having the biggest like movie blurb of all time, but you're like, I don't know how I know the high level points of the movie, but the scenes are going to still surprise me. And the high level points is we're not going back the way we came. This is a time of such rapid revolution, and it really is going to be a time where the power is going to go back to the people. But of course, to get there, things have to break all the way down. Yes. I keep being like, are we here? Are we at the bottom yet?
Where's our rock bottom?
I know.
Yeah.
We've gotten there, but I don't know. It just keeps going lower and lower.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something that I think we kind of struggle and battle with every day, as far as like how much energy do we give to these things that are happening, as far as like acknowledgement and not living in like blind privilege, because it's not directly happening to us at the moment. And so I think that we try to kind of balance our focus a little bit. It's like, how can we acknowledge that these things are happening, use like what we have right here, a platform for good, or building a community for good. And so we can kind of get these people that are probably feeling the same way as us together, and we can lean on one another. It's part of why the revolution is necessary, because we have just, I think, kind of forgotten how to do that and like be with one another and be at peace with one another, even in the midst of like disagreements. And so that's a struggle for us. It's like, how much energy do we put into it so that we're not making ourselves sick, but also not ignoring the fact that these things are happening too. So we love that. I'm really excited to get into that part of the book with reading all the archetypes, because like we mentioned earlier, like when we focus on astrology, it's really just like, what's my stuff? What do we got?
Right. What about me? Can we talk about me for a second? Yeah. Little me.
Yeah. And so I love that we're kind of bringing everything back to like a wider lens. It's like a bigger scope of things that astrology can be, not just like what's going to go on like my life today, like what's going to happen to me. You know, it's not that. It can be that, and we love it.
It can be that, because it's all important, right? Like, what's going to happen to you today? You know, like, am I going to get that job promotion? Am I going to meet a cute boy? Like, that's important. Like you said, we can't only focus on the macro. Yeah. We can't only focus on the micro. And I feel like for too long, these worlds were separate, right? Yeah. Like the spiritual self-development work and then the big like social geopolitical work. Yeah. And now we're in this moment of like bringing it all together, but it's a balancing act. And I don't think anybody could say they perfected it yet.
Right.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does really feel like that. I feel like everything is like coming to a head together, like everything's kind of relating to each other, and that's really interesting, because I've never really felt that way at a point in history before. Maybe I just wasn't aware of it,
or wasn't there for it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe in a different life.
Yeah,
exactly. In a different life.
Yeah. Speaking to that, and how, you know, a lot of the time astrology can get watered down by like a daily horoscope, or like, am I compatible with this person? A lot of the time we are reading into like romantic compatibility within astrology, which is great, and we love that. But for us, we really wanted to dive into friendship compatibility and how that kind of, you know, goes into how we relate to one another, how we like function with one another, and how we kind of like play off each other's astrological energies. So how can we show up more fully in our friendships with one another without people pleasing or performing?
Well, I love that, you know, you are bringing this up, because it's not the usual question in astrology, and I always love that. But the two of you, you know, doing this work together, it's very much related to your 10th house, because you're doing this in like a public way. It's sort of putting yourself out there in a, I'd say professional, but in a way that's like in your purpose, broadcasting a part of you out to the world, quite literally. And, you know, Christina, you have Aquarius in your 10th house. So it's like Aquarius is a lot about our friendships and our friend groups. So of course you're like working with a friend to bring out these Aquarian, you know, things out into the world. And then for you, Danny, it's like you have Libra in your 10th house. So a little bit of that like relationship building is always going to be part of your career and your public self. So I just have to take a moment, because if astrology isn't real, then why? Because like, wow, what a unique question. So I'm looking at your chart while you're talking. I'm like, yes, of course. And that's what I always say. If it's in your heart, it's in your chart. Like the things that we're thinking about, it's there. And it's a big part of us, and our soul wants to like actualize in this lifetime. So I just want to say for everyone, if you have something, a question, pull on that thread, pull on that thread. So for the two of you, and for everyone listening about friendships, well, first and foremost, I think it comes down to trusting yourself and honoring yourself. You know, and maybe not in that specific order, but the best friendships are going to be built on you first and foremost knowing how to honor yourself, knowing what your needs are, how to articulate them, how to advocate for them. So that way, I think so many times in life, or at least I'll speak for myself, because, you know, as definitely someone who's very empathetic, very watery. I feel like also Virgo is like the water of earth signs. I always think things like that in my head that are so weird, because I'm like, we're so mutable, and we're kind of just like want to help. And, you know, and again, like I said, the birth order, oldest of 4 daughters. I'm like, I just have always struggled with people pleasing and saying yes. And honestly, a lot of time it's because I want to. Like, I want to help my friends. I want to help my husband, my sisters. But I think figuring out, first of all, checking with yourself of like that self-honoring, knowing your needs, and knowing when you feel like you're starting to, I like to call it like, you know, stepping off your throne a little bit. Like, where am I starting to get off of my solid ground and into like that shaky space? And again, astrology can really help us understand that. Maybe a good spot to start would be your moon sign, because our moon sign is usually what will come out when we're feeling a little tense, a little tired, a little deregulated, a little overextended. And we can kind of listen to that when it's a whisper instead of a roar. And it's really our responsibility to figure that out first, right? Like, our friends don't know if we're people pleasing, if we're right. Like, so I think that honoring of ourselves, and then that, like, that being in that truth and that trust, that place of like, okay, I'm going to trust myself that I can say this thing and express it. And again, at the whisper before a nudge, because a whisper, I can say to you, hey, Christina, you know, I said yes to that thing this weekend, but I'm actually feeling really burnt out. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to bow out, right? And it's like, okay, can I trust myself to say that in a way where I'm not just like, F you, Christina, or like show up and just be huffy puffy the whole time and then being like all like bitter and weird. And it's like, okay, can I trust myself to express it? And can I trust Christina to receive it, and then trust her if she's upset to say it back to me? Because I think the worst thing that can get into friendships is when we're just not being honest with each other. It sounds so funny, but like it's just true. It's like, well, I'm saying yes when I mean no, and then so Christina's picking up on a weird passive aggressive, so then she gets a little weird back, or then it's like, and something starts to build there. And I always think about something that's helped me in my friendships, in my sisterhood, in my place of also like, you know, recovering from, as Oprah says, the disease to please. It's just from Dr. Brene Brown that clarity is kindness. Like, being clear is kind, being unclear is unkind. Like, I have been amazed by the times in my life where I've just been really clear with people I love and be like, I can't do that. And they're like, great, awesome, good for you. Whereas when I'm like, I think I can, but I can't, but maybe I will. Okay, I will. But like, I'm gonna be really tired. And it's like, well, and now all of a sudden I'm not really telling, right? I'm being unclear. And then it creates a lot of just confusion and miscommunication. And I think like that's where hurts and wounded and space comes in. So I think, yeah, like knowing how to honor yourself. And also we know we can take much better care of our friends. We know how to take care of ourselves. And then just cultivating this trust. And a big foundation of that is that clarity as kindness. And trust me, like, practice it. Every time I do it, I'm like, this is not going to work this time. I can't say this thing. I can't. I'm kind of, you're being nice when you say it, but I'm like, I can't say no. They're going to be so mad at me. And then everyone's always like, cool. Thanks for being clear. Now I can move on.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's something I'm like challenging myself too with right now. 'Cause like I am a Cancer moon. I have very big emotions. And when I feel a little bit backed into a corner, a little bit burnt out, I get the crab claws out, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. I don't like that. You know, like looking at them, that's not how I want to like treat people that I love. So being a lot more clear So I love that. So looking at the 10th house, looking at your moon sign, is there any other placements that you think are like really significant in, I don't necessarily want to say compatibility, but like really calling in like those soul friends?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, definitely look at your 11th house because it might unlock for you what you need or what you look for in your friendships, in your groups. But yeah, your moon sign. And I always like to say for yourself, but also if you really want to be a really good friend, like get to know your besties, Chirons, get to know their wounded healer because it's going to come up all the time. Like we're never done with our Chiron. We never like graduate and it like disappears from our chart. And I love it. Everyone has it. Beyonce has it. I think about that all the time. I'm like, bitch, Beyonce has a Chiron. We all got a wound. We were born with one. It's our job to transmute that wound into our magic wand. It's our job to take the medicine that we need and then maybe make that medicine in some way, again, whether it's in our art or our friendships or an actual healing practice or whatever it is. And then, but it's like such a gift to know someone you loves Chiron because you'd be like, baby, your Chiron's showing a little bit, honey, like bestie, like you're feeling that wound or you're overcompensating or you're in a place of avoidance. Because your Chiron in Leo is telling you that you don't deserve to have fun and play, or that you're not special enough to take up space for yourself. Sorry, I'm like reading.
We have the same one.
I know. I'm like speaking. Well, and you guys both have beautiful like. Christina, yours is in the 4th house of your home, your family, and your roots. And Danny, yours is in your 8th house of which is like our subconscious, our feminine, our kundalini energy. So it's like those are very tender spots to have Chiron. And so you can kind of just hold a beautiful mirror to each other or a reminder. And even that's why I love astrology. Sometimes it's just the context of like, you're not crashing out because, you did something or messed up your life. Like, oh, your Chiron just got like, that little tender nerve just got hit by the universe. But when that happens, it's the moment to like go deeper, to sit with that, to let yourself feel it, to heal it, to then see like what does it want to reveal to you, because that Chiron's also the key. Like we talked about before, you could ignore all of this, but you'll feel like, that's what I call like the comfort zone in my book. It's like you don't have to do this work. There's a lot of people out here who don't do this kind of work, but you will feel disconnected. You'll feel disconnected from your life force energy, from your vibrancy, from your magic, from your joy. And like, we don't want that. Hello. So it's a great moment of like, hey, baby, like, I know you're feeling this right now, but let's sit with it. Let's see what's coming up. Remember, it's not just you, it's your Chiron. This is part of your divine design. And like, even if it's kind of scary, even if you don't want to, and you can also don't have to do it, you can take a nap and then do it. But like, can we just like go right into that Chiron and Leo instead of running away from it and just see what happens, right? And I'm right here and I'm holding your hand every step of the way, right? Like, and again, we'll do it, and then together we can go get a little cocktail, go have a little girl dinner. We can go do something. We can go watch a little Netflix show. Like, we don't have to be in it forever, but can we just do one thing for the Chiron in Leo right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's tap in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love talking about friendship. We are two girlies who have always prioritized friendship in our lives, maybe even to like, I wouldn't say our detriment, but we both have had experience of like, we give so much in our friendships. And I think that even just within each other, we've been able to like hold each other and balance each other in that way. So we love talking about it. I mean, you guys love hearing about it and engaging with friendship content. So we really wanted to take that lens with it, because it's really not something that I hear a lot on social media or podcasts, is like talking about astrology when it comes to your friendships and showing up for yourself so you can show up better for your friends.
Yeah, because that's who's with us like forever, the friends. And you're so right. I was like, really, when you were asking the question, I was almost like sad. I was happy, but I was like, oh, but no one ever asked me about this. Like, and it's so true. Like your friends are the ones who are there with you through so many things. And also likewise, the few like friend breakups I've had in my life, those are the ones that haunt me way more than any like men that I've broken up with. So like, whatever.
I forgot about them.
Yeah. Who?
I forgot
that
all
guy?
about them, but I can
My old fiance?
What?
What?
I lost in a friendship,
No, 100%. And I think now more than ever, when we talk about community, we're starting to hear that word a lot more online. It's part of the Pluto and Aquarius moment we're in.
Yeah.
But like your community is obviously like your community, whether it's a community of similar people with identities, you know, that are similar to yours, or your actual like geographical corner of the world. But your community is like, it's your friends. It's the people who you can lean on, the people who you can be like, okay, like to get on my own, this is way too much, but together we've got this. Whether we're taking down the empire or just having a few like sacred giggles and blowing off some steam, right? So I think that's a great question, and I think really important for everyone to hear.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys are wondering, you can look at your 11th house, because those are the people that you're really drawn to. For me, it's Pisces, which totally checks out. I've always had this magnetism to Pisces. I could never explain it. And then I realized, like, oh, I'm attracted to dreamers. I want to be around people who are very, you know, in tune with themselves and spirituality and artistic and creative and things like that. So once I understood that, I was in one of Maddie's courses, actually. And once I understood that, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes so much more sense. Now I almost have kind of like a guidebook. If you're looking for how do I make new friends, maybe you've moved, maybe you've shed some old friends, whatever the case may be. It's like I looked at my 11th house and I was like, okay, these are the kinds of people that I'm really attracted to in life, that I want to be in community with and do life with. So where would those people be? And then kind of going outside, you know, touching some grass, being out in the wild, and being like, you know what, I'm going to go to this art event, or I'm going to go to this, I went to a solstice circle the other night, and I met some amazing human beings. So I'm like, go to the places, look at your 11th house, and then go to those places that you really feel like those people that you're wanting to call in are going to be as well.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the F is in my 11th house?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
you're Scorpio,
right,
and a little Sag, which is beautiful because of Christina. Yeah, so Scorpio and Sag. So you want people who are real and ride or die, and not afraid of, you know, going into the deep stuff with you, and not being ashamed. You guys are so cute. You're like, yeah. And then you want the Sag energy, the, you know, adventurous spirits, the truth seekers, but also like, let's have some fun, and then like, let's go really low but fun, and fuck it, like we can really fuck it, let's ball. Yeah, like
that's really
ball or die energy.
Do you want to talk about the political climate of the world? Actually, I know a great place to go get an espresso martini. So.
Right, and it's like a both end. Like it's a both end. Like let's talk about our childhood trauma, and also just like dance on a table and laugh and just have a blast, because it's also like, it's what I was saying before, like we have to find the balance in these times. So I love that. Also, Christina, I just want to say, star student, I'm so proud of you for how you just interpreted your Pisces 11th house.
I just wanted to give it a shout out for anybody who's looking for a community, a container. You guys, I shared a little bit on the podcast, but my life blew up, and Maddie warned me that was going to happen. She was like, people enter this container and things just like, you get in a rocket and you go. And so I got laid off from my job. I decided I wanted to start my own business. I was going through things in a relationship where I thought that like, oh, I was going to move forward with this person. It was like a giant halt stop sign in my face, you know? So entering this container really just like made me look at certain things and like, you know what? I came to this life to do some shit. So now I can do some shit because I have the support with the cosmic workbook that she gives you, and you go through every single week and you look at different placements in your chart and you break down what it means for you and how to embody it. So I wanted to give that call out to people. If you really feel like that's something that you're needing right now in life, please go and look at all of the different courses that Maddie has right now. Which kind of leads us to, I so hate that we have to end this time because we're just having so much fun. We could talk about this for literally hours.
Yes.
But we just wanted to give you a second to let people know where they can find you, where they can find the book, and how they can connect with you more.
Yeah, well, first of all, definitely connect. I am I love this whole community. I love new people coming in. I'm always checking my DMs. I love it. So all are welcome. Reach out, say hi. My Instagram for my business is at the CosmicRx, like prescription. And we have, through there, you could see all of our link in bios. Our website is CosmicRx.com. I have a weekly podcast where I do the energy report, weekly weather, plus some other, the astrology and the news mini-sodes that are always long episodes because I talk too much, and we do guest things. So there's tons of resources there. We have tons of resources, a blog, TikTok, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. If you want to just come to my personal, it's at I am Madi Murphy. Lots of pictures of my babies, my dog. And then the book is available wherever you buy books. On my CosmicRx, we have local bookshops, but of course the big daddies have them, the Amazon, the Barnes and Noble, and also an audiobook, which I'm recorded myself, which was so cool, but also my Chiron is in Gemini, the sign of the messenger and the communicator. So it was such a growth edge for me because I can't even read my children, their books at night without stumbling over words. So, but it was so cool because audiobooks have saved my life. There's been so many times in life where it's I don't even have the energy to read a book, but I'm going to put on this audiobook and just take a hot girl walk, one step, one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to get through this disaster I'm in or this dark night of the soul. So I also want to just put it out there. I think this is a book that if that's you, I put a lot of love, I charge some energy in there, I put some good vibes into that. Yeah, and then or just come hang out on the CosmicRx Instagram with me.
Yeah, absolutely. She posts so much good stuff. I'm always seeing you on my timeline, and I'm oh yes, instant. It's you haven't even finished your thought yet, and I'm yep,
immediate, immediate, yeah.
You're yes.
Yes.
And of course, Danny are huge fans of the podcast. It's part of our Monday reset ritual, if you will. So thank you so much for all of the love and intention and education that you're just putting out into the world. You're just such a beautiful human, and I'm so honored that I came across your path in this lifetime. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for you guys listening, you guys can go and order Maddie's book, dive in. I would love to hear some of your thoughts and insights on this conversation, or even on the book. You can tag Maddie, you can tag us and be hey, I read this, or I heard this on the podcast and it made me go down this little loophole and this is what I'm discovering. So we love to have those kind of conversations with you. I know Maddie would too. But until next time, you guys, we will talk to you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's EA meeting.
If you liked this episode, please share it with a friend and leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify. We'd love to hear from you.
You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Empaths and On Pod.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, or subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when we release a new episode.
We'll meet you back here on the Green Velvet Couch next time.
Bye, feelers!